Detroit Den 313. We're back. Steve and Will talking that Detroit Lions football. Before we get going, you know what to do. Bang that subscribe button and do not forget the bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Steve, are we talking old news or new news? I'm confused. What are we talking?
I think it's going to be a little bit of both. Good question. Is it old news? Is it new news? Is it no news? Is it maybe news? I don't know. But Tracy Walker posted a cryptic little thing on his Instagram today or the other day. I don't know when this was, but we saw it. We found it. Tracy Walker. It's Tracy Walker. That's his handle.
That's
I'm
today.
back. I'm back in Detroit. What does this mean, William? What is he trying to tell us here?
I think that Tracy Walker is having a little fun with fans. I think that Tracy Walker is probably back in town doing some business, though. I think that he is most likely back in town having some conversations, maybe having a cup of coffee, maybe talking about, hey, this pool for my services wasn't exactly what I thought that it was. And I know you guys are in the business looking for a safety, right? Because we've talked about it. The coaches have made mention to it. Analysts has all said it. We need some serviceable backup safeties. Who better to come in than somebody that we were super high on with as far as the Detroit Lions go. We just didn't know that Brian Branch was just going to absolutely fall into our lap. We didn't know that. And then I don't know. I had suspicions that Ife Melifonwu was going to be a heck of a football player, but who knew he would take the step forward like he did last season? Ended up in Tracy Walker being an odd man out. And, the whole CJ Gardner-Johnson thing as well didn't help. But I think that it's a fit. When I looked at Tracy Walker's social media pages, all I see is Detroit Lions stuff up there as well. And these guys typically, when they break,
he didn't scrub it.
No, when they break off from a team, typically they get scrubbed. They wipe off all of that old stuff or whatever. The Detroit Lions have proved to be a team that is straightforward. They understand that there's a business to be had in this NFL, and you got to do the business if you want to be successful. But they do it in a way that players can understand. We are a player-friendly organization. We just, again, know that there's a business side to it. So I think those are all reasons why Tracy Walker is in town. Will we sign him? I have no idea, but I know that I'm excited to see what happens moving forward. Steve, we know he's in town. Would you like the Detroit Lions to offer Tracy Walker a contract?
Yeah, I think if it's a team friendly deal, I'm more than willing to bring back Tracy. He was kind of, like you said, he was the odd man out. CJ Gardner-Johnson kind of stole his job. I remember, if you happened to catch a glimpse of him, you'd see him on the sidelines. He'd always be in street clothes, wasn't dressing. I think he's familiar with the Detroit Lions. I think he comes from that, I know what winning means to this city. He's been through the bad times. He kind of got a glimpse of the good times, and he wasn't really a part of it. I think that might drive him, make him a little hungry. Like, hey man, I watched this team have some really good games last year, and I was kind of stuck on the sidelines. That's a chip on your shoulder. That's something you're going to bring into the facility and say, hey, I can come in here, step up, get these guys where we need to be, get them over the hump. Take that CJ Gardner-Johnson role that's kind of available. At the very least, I'm signing them for some depth. I think, you can get him on the field from time to time. I think he's really good in the box. I think he's a stud there. Coverage, not 100% sold on him in coverage, but I think we got enough guys that can do that. I think we can get a Tracy Walker and stack that box and make him like I don't want to say like a linebacker, but kind of put him in that role type, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah, I'm more than okay with bringing back Tracy Walker. I don't think it's like a groundbreaking breaking news type story, but I would be more than happy with it.
I'll be honest. If we sign him, I think that it is a groundbreaking. I think that it would be a huge deal. We're getting a guy who already knows our scheme. Is already familiar with our guys, the program, the coaches, the facilities, the city. But on top of that, we're getting a guy who I don't remember him complaining throughout the whole process of everything that he went through.
Never heard a word.
Season before, the guy tore his Achilles, grinded his way back, got on the field. After that, we get CJ Gardner-Johnson. Brian Branch slides out of the first round. We end up with him falling in our lap. I never heard him grumbling or complaining. I never heard him causing a fuss. He just stuck to his business, man, kept his head down and kept plotting away. He's a guy that I think offers some different things than They got other guys on the back end with his physicality, as you mentioned, maybe bringing him down in the box, even just him laying licks on guys in the back half. I think that he definitely has some things that he can do that our other safeties that we have already don't, they don't have in their toolbox. But the biggest thing that Tracy Walker does for me is make me comfortable. He makes me feel good. He
Familiar face.
Yeah, and he's a guy who can do it on a high level. Who I've never thought that Tracy Walker was bad. It just so happens we got some guys that were better. You know what I
Yep.
mean? That's it. Like I've never questioned his game. Now, even his coverage, he's never been a guy who I was like, man, he's horrible on the back end in coverage, but he has dropped a couple interceptions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I needed to catch those, buddy. But
Don't be
and
Kindle
one,
Bildor.
I remember the one, man, when his first game back, everybody was cheering for him, happy that he was back on the field, and he had one that he probably could have took to the
Hit him right
house.
in the chest, if I remember right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we got to bring those in, man. But Tracy Walker to me is a feel-good story. I'm cheering for this guy. The guy did nothing wrong. The guy didn't do anything to get ran out of town. It was just situational. It was just business. You being back in town, I don't know if it'll be a team-friendly deal, but if it's a deal that makes sense, I feel like if the Cam Sutton situation, maybe it allocated us a little bit more money to be able to do some things like this. Tracy, hope to see you in Honolulu Blue. It would bring me a warm and fuzzy to know that safety position is shored up from a standpoint if somebody gets banged up, you're stepping in and we're not going to miss a beat. Happy to see you at Metro Detroit Airport, sir.
Yeah, I don't want to downplay and say that I'm not excited. Like when I say that it's not like groundbreaking news for me, like it's comfortability. I'm in the same boat as you. Like I'm comfortable with it. It's like, oh, okay, yeah, Tracy's back. Hell yeah, let's go. Not like, oh man, we traded up for the first pick, like in the NFL. Like not that type of excitement. But I would absolutely love to see Tracy Walker back in Detroit. I think I don't know. I'm trying to feel like he's maybe one of those fan favorite guys. I think a lot of people cheer for him. A lot of people want to see him be successful. I think like I said, he's been through the bad times in Detroit. He wasn't here for like the 0-16 season or anything like that, but he was here when things weren't so good. He was here through the 3-13 and a little bit before that. Like he was, he's been through it. I think he wants to see the city of Detroit do well. And I'm just putting it like if I were in his shoes and I'm watching the Detroit Lions, a team that I've been with for years and gone through all those bad times, and I'm on the sidelines watching my team go to the NFC Championship, like me personally, I would feel some type of way about that. Like, dang, like I've been here, I'm not on the field. And like you said, it's not anything because he did. It was just we had some guys that were a little bit better. But
Yeah.
not to say that he's not worthy. But I think that could really fuel a fire for a player like him that can be like, hey, man, I said to sit back and watch my boys go to the NFC Championship while I'm on the sidelines in a hoodie. I'm ready to get after it and get to work.
Yeah. That and Jared Goff made mention to something in the interview that everybody talked about where he was supposedly being super, super meanie pants to Detroit media. He made mention to the fact of he remembers when he got traded to Detroit and he first got here and they started doing interviews and they started having meetings and they talked about how they were stripping this thing down to the studs. Tracy Walker was here for that. He signed a 3-year, $25 million deal during that time. That's how committed he was to staying here and being a part of building this thing back up. So I think you're absolutely right. This is a situation to where he understands what Detroit has been through and what we're about. He loves the city. That's something that I've seen him talk about in interviews. So I feel like it's a no-brainer, man. Get this dude, get him a pen. Let's sign him to something fair, and let's just be comfortable with the fact that we know if Tracy Walker has to come in, we're not going to miss a beat. And on top of that, I think he'll get some reps anyways, man. I think that he won't be a guy that just don't play at all, but he'll be a rotational piece. He maybe even week to week, so if we play a team that's got a physical run game, maybe we put him in a box a little bit more, and maybe we put him back at that safety position a little bit more. Because I'm gonna tell you this: when you're talking about physicality, I can't even imagine a world where Iffy Melifonwu and Tracy Walker are back there.
Good luck.
And that's no knock on Kirby Joseph, but man, if we're playing a run heavy team and you got Iffy and Tracy Walker back there, they're gonna come and put hats on people. And they're going to have no problem being in a box. So I think that there is another opportunity to have some versatility. if we're playing those past teams, Kirby Joseph's back there playing center field like he loves to do. It's just an opportunity for us to get better, man. An opportunity for us to get safer. By safer, I mean having contingencies for contingencies for contingencies. What does this team look like right now? And what does it look like in November? One of those guys get banged up, the next one steps in, we don't miss a beat on our way to hoisting that Lombardi trophy. Finally, I think this would be a great move to move us in that direction.
Yeah, I think like football is like who has the most chess pieces on a chessboard. The more pieces you have, the more moves you can make. If your opponent's limited and they can't match up well with you, I think that's kind of how the Lions are building their team. Just hey, we got some pieces. We might have 2 queens we can move around while you only have 1. You might have a couple rooks while you only got a couple of knights. Like it's a chess match. And if you have a guy like Tracy, do a lot of different things, play safety, play some type of, I don't know what to call it, kind of like a what did Michigan used to call the Viper position, linebacker type thing that Michigan used to do, like something like that in the NFL.
Hybrid rover.
Yeah, like a hybrid rover type guy. I think Tracy's a perfect fit for that. My thoughts on that, if we re-sign Tracy, if this has a little legs, I give it a solid B+, and I just can't hand out A's. B+ is very fair for me.
I'm with it.
Guys, Tracy Walker, he tweeted it out, put it on Instagram, whatever you want to call it. Let us know how you feel about his return. If he's just kind of leaving some breadcrumbs, if this has a little legs, if there's something going on, if we're going to get some news here in a couple days about a signing, let us know how you feel in the comments. Hit that like button. If you're new here, stick around, subscribe. We'll be back later with another episode.
Peace.